Howdy, all. This is Alan RDA in scale, and we thought we'd do an update 23. We did some improvements to the layout a little bit. We fixed up a new panel here to hold our throttles, and this is my power cab here, and we got us a new throttle pocket, and we'll kind of lighten that up a little bit so you can see how the throttle pocket looks. We added we added a little bit of a added touch to the throttle pocket. These throttle pockets are made by let's see if we can get a name here. New Rail. Come on. There we go. New Rail models. Normally you would have a wood panel, and I've got a piece of wood, but I use this so I use this size of a piece of wood here so I could still get under the bench and do my work under the bench without, having to worry about tangling with the piece of wood. Sometime we're going to take this piece of wood off, and it's pretty smooth. It's not really too rough, not really too splinterish. It is kind of prone to cracking though. We had a couple pieces of wood that cracked, but once I fastened it, I used a little metal L bracket, mini L bracket that you can buy at Lowe's. Of course, you can see the screws protruding out here. They kind of stick out a little bit, and it's just because of the wood is kind of a thin wood, but it's enough to hold the throttle pocket where I want it to be, and I can do what I need to do with it. But we kind of added that little extra to the throttle pocket, so the NCE power cab sits in there nice and good. I mean, it's just like silk sitting in there. As you can see here, it's not pressing on the buttons or anything like that. That's what I was making sure of. It's not depressing on them or anything like that. She's just sitting in there nice and gentle. I do have a little bit of a like a shim or like a foam behind there, because the wood was just a little bit behind on my table here. This table's got a protecting rubber thing that goes around the table, and it just kind of protects the wood and as such, and also kind of protects if you're you bump up against it, or it just is kind of a protective thing, and it really makes a nice finish too on the table. So, but we got that pocket done, and we may go ahead and install the other pocket. And like I say, this just, I mean, it just, you can actually let the power cab just kind of just slide down on its own, but it does it, and it doesn't rock around. Before I done this, it was really moving around. It was really loose, and kind of was a free bird. And but we we drilled a couple holes into the plastic, which was super easy to do. I mean, it's just very, very easy. It's thin plastic, and but we done that, and then we put these flat screws, flathead. Well, they're kind of a machined all in one screw. It's got a flat washer built into the screw, and I use these a lot. And they hold the plastic up in there in a good position. It doesn't let it move around too much, and it like I say, it does really well. And it holds it. It doesn't. I mean, there's a little bit of looseness, and I think that's just, it's just because, the wood's not, it's, the L brackets are holding it there, but it's not, it's not up against them. If it was up against the metal, the L bracket here, if it was up against, you can see that, if it was up against that there, it would be definitely solid, but, it's solid enough to hold the pocket. Anyway, on past that, I did get that right there. I was talking about this car, and I decided to just punch it out and go ahead and get that. I also got me some more Kato Unitrack power rail joiners over at Hobbytown. They're reasonably priced. I think they are. They're $5 for, and I've seen them higher, and so I just went ahead and got me a couple more. And so they keep they don't keep an overabundance of track and stuff, but they have a good, not a bad selection of single track. They don't have any double track at Hobbytown, but I'm assuming that they could order it if you asked them to order it, they would order it for you. And like I say, I got the those rail unijoiners. I got them there, and but they have some nice track pieces in Atlas and Kato if you want some extra added Kato pieces. They have some pretty good pieces over there, and they don't have a bad selection of locomotives and stuff either. They've got all the way from O scale all the way down to the N scale there. I mean, it's not a big selection, but it ain't a bad selection either. And some hobby towns may have more than where I get my stuff at. But anyway, we're gonna pause this, and we're gonna take a look at the car a little bit closer and let you guys see a little bit closer shot of it here. Gonna do this here on the we're gonna do this right here, and we're gonna put this on the turntable here. Show this here. Give me just a second. We'll get the car out. We'll take her out real easy and show what the car looks like. Looks like it's like the other one. Pretty good detail. Hey, Maulers. This is Allen RDA N scale, and sorry if I'm moving the camera around real fast. We're doing some wheel swamping, and we've done this before. This is not a first time that we've done this with BMLA cars. We on our BMLA refrigerated cars, and I'll show you one of my BMLA refrigerated cars here in just a second. Here, let me pause this. Okay, guys and gals, I'm going to take my headband off here. Well, hang on a minute. We're going to retrieve. Okay, got the headband so we can see that stuff so we can see that stuff or whatever, and that a little bit better when we're working on it. But I'm gonna put this on not pause, but I'm gonna put this on a flash, which lights it up so you guys can see the wheels. These are, I don't know if you can see these or not. I don't know if they're really showing up that good. Hopefully they are in the camera. These are BMLA's wheels. Let's see if you can see that there. Hopefully the detail will show. You can see the cones on the ends where the cones turn. If you take, and I'm sure that, you know, if a person worked at it enough, if you took and probably, because you can take these cones with your finger and you can feel them, and these cones feel, you know, you can feel like a little roughness to them. They're kind of sharp, kind of like they've got like a little bit of flashing on them. And you might be able to see that. I'll try to turn this real slow so you can see it. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't, but sometimes on that cone tip, it's got a little bit of flashing on there. And sometimes I think that can cause a problem. If you look at if you look at a microtrains, you don't see that flashing. You can kind of tell right there. There's some flashing a little bit on it. Let me pop out a microtrains metal wheel. Okay, hopefully my finger is not. And maybe the camera will focus on this. This is a microtrains metal wheel, but one thing that microtrains does different than any manufacturer that I've seen, and this might be, you know, on their first run. This was their first run of metal wheels. These are 33s. They have kind of a goldish look to them. If you look right along there, it looks like it's a little rough. I don't know how their new 36 wheels look like, but they're kind of rough a little bit there. But the cones themselves, or the centers that the wheels fit over, are plastic. Microtrains uses metal wheels with plastic inserts. They slip them on there just like that. And like I say, sometimes when you're trying to do a point, the camera wants to focus, but then it doesn't. There she goes. Now she's going to focus. And that's kind of the difference. That's kind of the difference there with the microtrains, with their metal wheels. I don't know what they're, if I can get this thing to focus again. Sorry. It's just, these cameras are, I think they're definitely to where they work outside real good, but they're trying to focusing stuff like this here. They just kind of have a little bit difficulty to bring it in. But you can see right there, the plastic cone is pretty good, conically shaped, and it don't really have a flashing, grabby feely to it. Whereas these BMLAs, and I'm not knocking BMLA, they got some good stuff. I just think they need probably a little bit. If a person, you know, was going to use these all the time, they would probably want to, you know, if they didn't turn very good in the wheels, they would probably want to give this a little, you know, touch up, so you can, like I say, I can take my finger and I can feel it. It just feels like it wants to grab my finger. And I mean, kind of really, really sharp, really, really, you know, you kind of feel that flashing feel. But the wheels, and this is what's strange. This is kind of what's strange. The BMLA wheels, and I've in a video, and I'm going to make this update 20, I'm going to call this update 23. In my segments before that I've talked about changing out wheels and stuff like that, and plastic for metal. The BLMA metal wheels do really good in Microtrains' trucks. And I'll set these here and see if you can see where it says Microtrains. They may not be printed on there, but they should be, but I don't know. Let's see. Nah, maybe not on this one. But anyway, they tend to do really well. They tend to do really well in a Microtrains truck, the BLMA metal wheels. Whereas the Microtrains plastic wheels do good, and you can see these right here. These are plastic wheels. The reason why I put these plastic wheels in here is because, let me turn this here a little bit here. You can see, maybe you can see it. I can see it, but it's kind of hard to, well, that could, it's not a scratch, no. The reason why I put the plastic wheels in my BLMA trucks a long time ago, the Cottos, is because the BLMA 36s that was in these truck sets. Of course, you can add shims underneath them to lift them up, but you lift them up too high, and then it's going to look unprototypical. So what I done, I put some Cotto plastic wheels in there. The BLMA metal wheels was rubbing on right along here. Let me get a stick I can show you. The metal wheels were rubbing like right here. They were rubbing on this part of the frame. They were grabbing, especially when it's in turns, and it was so bad that it was causing the car to not want to track well, and almost causing derailments. And a couple times it did derail, just because the metal wheels was grabbing onto or rubbing against the frame here, causing them not to turn. When a wheel cannot turn, things are not going to move well. Just like a dry bearing, it's not going to move well. What you're going to have a derailment. So we put the plastic wheels in there, problem went away. And that was 3 years ago on these cars. These are my BLMAs. And I've had these, and these have stayed this good, look this good. These are the only ones that I know that had the Thermo King refrigerated unit on them. All the others were Carrier and that. And this one here had the Thermo Kings. I don't know if you can still find the Thermo Kings or not. Come on, focus, 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 focus. I don't know if you can still find the Thermo King units or not, but I like the Thermo King. I always did like that. My dad, when he drove semi, he always, his trailers that he pulled, the refrigerated trailers, mostly had the Thermo King units on there. You can see on top of the Thermo King, you can see where the piping is and stuff on there. And it just looks good. And I always like the name Thermo King. And like I say, camera likes to focus, then camera doesn't want to focus. But and it says whisper quiet too. I forgot that says on there. Yeah, whisper quiet. Let's see if we can focus that in. And then here's some of the stuff down here. I don't know if I ever showed this. I don't think I ever showed this in my videos or whatever. And that's some of the stuff down there. The detail is very, very good. The walkway is a little. Oh, the walkway there is a little bent, but It ain't because of me, you know, pressing on it or whatever. And it's just probably over time, it's just kind of sagged. But I'm not really gonna do too much with it and you know, get it to break. So I'm just gonna let it be a you know, kind of a natural thing, is what we're gonna call it. Anyway, we changed the wheels on the BNSF 780-8021 to plastic. When I was checking, and I'm going to pause this one more time. When I had this up here on the my test track, this is my roll test track. The car would roll about that far with the metal wheels, about that far. Excuse me. Sometimes the stuff you eat, it just kind of bites you. It roll about that far and stop. And I can tell or feel a different smoothness just by taking my finger and just, you know, going with the top of the car. I take the car, let it go. There she goes. Now she might wobble just a little bit. Whoops, I'm sorry. Let me do this again. Let me do this one more time. I didn't have it in the camera. She might wobble a little bit because I'm always trying to make sure that she's not going to hit the other end. But, I mean, that's just a nice, smooth rollout. She might wobble just a little bit, but other than that, I mean, like I say, wheels might wobble just a little bit, you know. That's not going to really hurt too much. I mean, you know, when your cars are behind something, you know, you're going to have a little bit natural wobble. She wiggles a little bit, just a little, but then she stops. So I think I had this car before. I can't remember. If I did, like I say, I can't remember. But I could probably put just a little bit of weight in it and help that a little bit. But you get them too heavy, you get them too darn heavy, and then they tend to bite you because then the engines can't pull them. So, but that is a nice rollout. So I'm gonna put this on pause, and then I'm gonna show the BMLA's metal wheels in my microtrains car. Give me a second here. Okay, we are back. I think we're back. There we go. Got some time going. All right, we got the BMLAs in the microtrains trucks, and if we can, maybe we can see. Let's see if we can see the wheels. Sometimes you can see them. You can see them spin. They spin. They spin pretty freely in these microtrains. Why they don't in the sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but most of the time they do. But we will, I'll demonstrate, and it may not roll that good, but then I've seen this happen before, so we'll see what this does. They may roll really, really good in the microtrains trucks going down my test track. Okay, let's make sure that we're got on the rail. Yep, we're on the rail. Okay, here we go. These are BMLAs in the microtrains. They feel smooth. Let's see what they do. There you are. Just as smooth as butter. Smooth as butter. Smooth as butter. Might be wobbling just a little bit. They feel like they're grabbing just a little bit, and they feel like they're grabbing just a little bit, and that could be because of that cone needing to be, needing to have just a little bit of that flashing off that cone. But that's they're rolling smoother. These are rolling smoother than they did when they were in the BMLA trucks themselves. That is really, really smooth there. But I wish they rolled that smooth in the BMLA trucks, but they, and like I say, that can be because of maybe the flashing, but they're doing good in this car. Okay, we're going to show one more BMLA wheels in Microtrain's truck. Okay, here we go. This CSX 243 618 has got BMLA wheels that I took out of the BMLA trucks on my one of my cars, and I'll show you that here in just a second. And I took them out because it didn't roll very good. Put them in this, and here's this in the Microtrains trucks here. Perfectly smooth roll. Might just have to start taking the Microtrains, if we can make them work, take the Microtrains trucks and put them on the BMLA stuff. Because that rolls perfectly. That's the way you want your metal wheels to roll. Not where they act like they're always wanting to grab. And let's see here, I'll put this on pause and I'll show you the car that I took them out of. Okay, the car that those wheels came out of, the wheels that I just showed you, they came out of the Atlas, which used to be BMLA. This ADM 56074, it's got plastic wheels in it now, Microtrains, and that came from those Microtrains wheels they were donated from the CSX car. The metal wheels that was in this ADM, which like I say is an ex-BMLA, they are in the CSX car. And this ADM car rolls very, very good. I mean, it didn't do too bad, but the wheels didn't want to turn in it, so I took them out and put the Microtrains in there, and they roll excellent. So now we're going to see if we can help the Deep Rock tankers. Let's see if I can. I want to see if I can take see if I can take the trucks off and put a shim underneath of them and fix their wobbling problem. See what we can do with that. Well, on the Deep Rock tankers here, I thought maybe putting that shim in would change my the wobble on the car. I thought maybe that would improve it. Sometimes if you have a shim in there, I've seen this on the Inner Mountains, they have them. This car has a tendency to wobble pretty good, and I thought maybe it would help by putting a shim in there, but it really didn't do that. So, but sometimes you have a win-win, and sometimes you don't. And if you don't, you just kind of go with it as it is. I will show you this though. This is my tool that I press my pins in with. It's a converted. If I can get it that. There we go. It's a converted micro screwdriver that I took, and long time ago, I hacked it off the end. This is the actual screwdriver right here. This right here. It is setting down inside of a Phillips or SK tool 85 112 from SK. And like I say, on the screwdriver itself, I put some heat shrink tubing, shrinked it real good, and it was like I said, it's one of these jeweler screwdrivers that had like a rough edge to it. On the one end had the spinning top on it, kind of like my Weehawk tools. You've got the spinning top here. Well, it had that spinning top, and I was able to pry it off and cut off the end so I could stick inside this, which is my 8512. I've got another 8512, and I've got the flat end and the Phillips end that you can slide inside of it. You got kind of like a rubber boot inside there, or a rubber thing that's inside this shaft that catches that and keeps that from just falling out. This here, like I say, I put this heat shrink tubing, and I got that to fit in there. And then once I got that in there, I started working on the shaft. And I used this at first to push pins and stuff like that for watches and that, and a few other things. And it wasn't that thin, or this thin. I took and I filed on it until I got it like this, and then I filed the end to where the end is. I made sure it was flat, but I also made sure it was round and smooth to where it wasn't, sharp or whatever. That it's just as smooth as ever. But it works really good because it fits inside these here. I'll pop this light on. It fits perfectly down inside these pins, these push pins. It fits in that hole pretty good, and you don't really got to give it a whole much of a whatever net to push that in there, because this will drive it home pretty good. So that's one of my tools that I made. I'll show you a couple more tools that I made, and I've showed them and put them on Facebook, but I never did show them here on YouTube. So I'll show you another little bit of my talent that I got. When I was trying to figure out a way to put the rail joiners, see if we can show this here. When I was trying to figure out a way to put the rail joiners on my Atlas tracks, I was trying to figure out how I could put them on there without boogering up my finger. And so I thought, I've seen stuff out there or whatever that different guys done or whatever that, and I thought, hey, I can make these up myself. So what I done, I made this one, and if you look at it right there, the camera focuses. If the camera focuses, there we go. You can see, oh yeah, she'll focus, and then all of a sudden she don't want to focus. But if you see right there, you can see that there we go. There's a rail there. And then down this side, there's the rail. You can put a rail joiner on there, and I might be able to put one on there to show this. You can put a rail joiner on there and slip it onto the rail. Now I don't know if you can do I don't think you can do Payco, because Payco is a slightly different. But you definitely can do, if you're doing a lot of Atlas, you can do Atlas. And instead of this just being a bare rail that you grab a hold of, I put some a little bit of added a little bit of extra nicety to it. I took a piece of heat shrink tubing and I shrunk it down and made it to where it's nice to grab. And then I got one of these rubber vacuum covers, and put this vacuum cover on there, so I didn't have to worry about me getting stuck or whatever. And that, if this was to be sharp, of course I smoothed that down before I did it, but I still went ahead and stuck that vacuum cover on there, and it kind of finishes off this this tool pretty nice. And it's nice that you can use this tool or this short one. Probably use this short one more than I do that other one. But you got the piece of rail. You can stick your joiner on there, your rail joiner on there. Rail joiner. I may not have said that, but I meant to say rail joiner. You can stick your rail joiner. Rail joiner butts up against this rubber piece right here, up against the rubber or the heat shrink tubing, and sets on there. And then again, I put some heat shrink tubing on here and put the vacuum cover on here. And so we wanted to show these tools here. So I do have a few talents. Like I say, I done RC cars and stuff like that and tinkered with them long enough that I kind of done that stuff, and some soldering and stuff, but it's been a long time since I soldered. So and Kato track is just kind of hard to solder. I mean, you can make places in it, stuff like that, and you can solder it. And probably if you worked at it enough, or if you had a Dremel tool that you could make a place in the rail, and you could, like I say, make a place in the rail, and you could burnish a little bit with your Dremel tool, on the back side of the rail, so the solder would stick real good. You could do that just like you could Atlas track, and you probably could drill, along the sides of it and solder there too. But this is something that you probably better have a good soldering iron, and your skills should be pretty good so you don't melt your track. If you can do it without melting your track. And I'm not saying that I could or couldn't. I possibly could, but I would want a very good, like a Heiko. I think they're Heiko. Either a very good Heiko solder station, or I would want a very good, trying to think of the name of that. They've been out for a long time. Heiko is one of them, and then, like I say, they've been making solder irons for a long time. Weller's what I'm thinking of. Weller station. But I think the Heiko stations are a little bit better because of the temperatures and that. To me, I would also, if I was doing all of that and going that far into doing, if I was soldering all my track and going into that, I would want to, and I know it would cost to do this, but I would want to get a desoldering tool. If I needed to do something where I needed a desolder, I would want a tool that could desolder, pull the solder up and completely away from what you're working on, and do it that way. Of course, like I say, I know those desoldering tools are really expensive. Those Heiko, I think the Heikos are what they're called. The soldering stations are about $140, $150, maybe $160, maybe $200, but they look like they're definitely geared for very good quality work. if soldering is what you do all the time, they look like they could do the work very good. And the attachments that you have with them are pretty good as too. But anyway, these are my tools. Thought I'd share them with you. And share this, my push tool to do that. So there's that. And we'll show one more time. I showed it in my first video. And I got to put it on here. If I haven't yet, I'm going to do it probably pretty soon. Here's my throttle pocket that I got. Light on. This is my throttle pocket that I bought. Got 2 of them. Got them over at Hobbytown, USA. They have some pretty good deal of pretty good stuff of railroad stuff, model railroad stuff. They have big starter sets. Kato, Bachmann, the Rail Boss Bachmann, I seen that one there. Kato, they have the Kato Amtrak engine. I wouldn't mind getting that as a starter set. It's a little expensive, but you get everything with it. And then they've got some, the guy that does it, that runs the trains and stuff, or does have stuff to do with the trains, is Sean. He gets in a little bit of everything. He gets a little bit of O-scale for some of the O-scale guys that, that want to get a few things there. HO, he's got some pretty nice HO stuff. And he's got a few things in N-scale. And so I decided to, get a couple things there. And he had some of these throttle pockets. And like I say, the throttle fits in there just like that. And just like that, I added a little bit of kind of nice to it, that green felt. Buy that at your Ace Hardware store, or put some of that felt in there, and throttle pocket slips in there right, real nice and smooth. It holds the throttle. The throttle can move around. It can still move up and down like this, but it holds it nice and secure, and it doesn't let it wobble out. It doesn't make it feel like it's just going to fall out. It's going to. So it looks pretty good in there, and I've got enough room to put probably a couple more, but I may put one on this end to put my power cab here. I'll put my pro cab down here. And so was wanting these and make the layout, wanted to trick her up just a little bit more, and I think we accomplished that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys, if you haven't, you guys that are watching that haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up, please. Please give me a thumbs up. I don't know if I said that, good. I didn't know if that came through or not, but please give me a thumbs up and ring that bell. And I thank you so much for watching the RDA N-Scale channel. This is Alan. I hope you guys are having a good Thursday night. I think this is Thursday night, maybe Friday night. Nope, yeah, Friday night. I believe. One of the days. But if it's Thursday, have a great Thursday night. Going into Friday. We're close to the weekend, so that's all that counts. Y'all be safe out there. And take care, and thank you for watching again, and we will see you, and pretty soon we'll probably be running some trains. Y'all take care. Thanks again for watching. RDA N-Scale, Alan, we're out, and this is update 23.